Today we're taking a detailed look at the 2016 Ford Explorer. I'm your host Mitchell Watson. Welcome to Town & Country TV. When I saw the 2016 Explorer in the pictures and the videos before it debuted, I have to say that I wasn't all that excited because it was just a refresh. From what it looks like on papers, you just get some front end differences, some rear end differences, and that's it. That it's just a small refresh. Well, after seeing the car in person, I'm actually very pleased. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go in detail through all the different trim levels to tell you exactly what you can get, what's different on the 2016 Explorer versus this, which is the 2015 Explorer. And so, believe it or not, there are a lot of differences primarily in the technology range between this vehicle and this vehicle. And so that's what our hope today is. Now, keep in mind, yes, we are a dealership located in Bessemer, Alabama, but we're not going to use this video to try and sell you. We simply want to lay some facts out there, let you decide if this car is for you. And from there, who cares? If you buy a car from me or not, I really don't care. We primarily just want to show you the vehicle and share the knowledge that we have learned. The Ford Explorer is the #1 selling vehicle in its segment for 25 years. In fact, in 2014, it hit a milestone, over 7 million Explorers sold worldwide, which is a pretty strong feat for a market that is in a segment that is so heavily populated with different competitors. So the Explorer has been a great vehicle up until this point, and we're very excited to see this. This is actually a pre-production prototype vehicle. So what this means is that we actually have a Ford trainer that comes around to our dealerships. They train us on the car. Then maybe after the training's done, maybe a Ford exec drives it, and then they crush the car after that, which I think is pretty neat. Let us know what you think about that. Do you think Ford should try and sell this car back out to the public, or do you think that it is the right thing to do to crush that? So leave some comments down below. We'd like to hear what your opinion is on that, because it was a pretty interesting topic. But nonetheless, this is the best-selling three-road vehicle of any type. And so it's a really strong vehicle in the segment, so we're excited about the technology that's coming with this refresh. Once again, this is not a complete overhaul. This is simply just a refresh, but it comes with a lot of technology in that specific vehicle. This is the Ford Explorer Sport model. Now, this particular engine that's in this car is a 3.5 liter V6 EcoBoost engine with a four-wheel drive system. And so this is not the best for fuel economy. It's not bad on fuel economy. In fact, it actually is a lower cost of operating this particular engine as far as cents per mile than the EcoDiesel that's in some of the competitors out there. But this vehicle does have a 3.5, and it is standard in the Sport and also in the Platinum, four-wheel drive systems on both. We'll get into the Platinum on how that's a whole new trim level here in just a minute, but I want to point out to you the vehicle does have 365 horsepower. This is a carryover engine from the old Explorer Sport. The other engines that are available in this car, in different trim levels that is a 2.3 EcoBoost, and that does have 280 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque, and that engine actually tows up to 3,000 pounds with the proper equipment from the factory. So that's pretty interesting that they've dropped the 2.0 in the old body style engine that old body style Explorer that we have, and they're picking up one that's basically a carryover with a different tune and different components on the EcoBoost Mustang. And if you've had a chance to drive that car, that engine, you know it's very strong. That particular engine does feature a twin-scroll single turbocharger. Basically what that means is there's only one turbocharger. Since it's a four-cylinder, you only have one turbocharger, but you have two different opportunities for air to come into that turbocharger, which allows it to spool up quicker, which makes it feel like there's absolutely no turbo lag, and it feels more responsive. And so that's the second generation in Ford's version of the EcoBoost, is that twin scroll technology. Now, the standard engine is the carryover engine as well. That is a 3.5 naturally aspirated V6 engine, and that one will actually tow up to 5,000 pounds. So depending on your towing needs, you just need to make sure that you choose the engine appropriately. What we'll do now is we'll walk all the way around the car on the outside to show you what this particular car looks like. And keep in mind, this is a sport model and it is a pre-production prototype. So some of the things may change from what you're seeing on your dealer lots. By the way, this car will be available in late May of 2015. You'll start seeing supply maybe a month or two after that, a big supply of these things. But anyways, let's start on the front. You'll see that it does have the Explorer badging right there on the roof. On the hood rather, and that is a feature that is standard on the Explorer Sport. One of the things that I really like about this car is that you actually have a 180-degree camera on the front end, and what you'll notice is that you actually have a washer feature. And so literally, if you hit the windshield wipers and you use the washers on the windshield wiper, it also cleans that front camera. Now, a neat feature on this is that if it's got the front camera, it's also got the rear camera, and now both of them are 180-degree view cameras, so very, very wide angle, so that way you can see people that are coming from either direction. If you're pulling out of a parking space or pulling out of a parking deck, you can see coming this way and then also backing out of a parking space. Very nice feature. For a lot of different reasons. Now, I want to point out to you that this car, because it's a sport, has black painted accents on it to contrast what the actual Explorer looks like in general. So you'll see that this is black painted, that's black painted, and then you also have this. This is what Ford is calling a skid plate element. Don't be fooled, this is not a skid plate, it is a piece of plastic, but they call it a skid plate element, and the reason they do that, and now if you have like an XLT or a Limited or all these different trim levels, it's actually going to be painted a different color, and the reason they do it this way is to make the car seem like it's higher off the ground. It's all appearance is basically what it boils down to, but they do that so that way the car looks like it has a higher ground clearance and makes it look more beefy. A pretty neat little thing, and shows how important styling is. As we walk around the vehicle, I want to show you something that I really love on the new Ford Explorer. XLT and up, you actually have an LED surround on the headlight, and so XLT all the way up through the Platinum will have this nice feature. So you can see when it's off, and then you can also see when it's on. When it's at nighttime, this is going to look very, very nice. You'll also notice that the fog lamps have actually moved up higher, and so it's kind of interesting because in the past people say that, hey, you need the fog lamps as low as you can so that way the light can get underneath the fog. Well, Ford has actually taken this approach to take these up higher, and so that it gets rid of all of this blank space on the front bumper of the old Explorer. So you'll see that it really does a good job of kind of maintaining the flow of the look of the front end. And so it is definitely different, and I like it a whole lot better, especially seeing it in person. Wasn't too fond of it on paper and on videos, and you'll probably say the same thing, but you need to take a look at it in person before you rule it out. Now, obviously, the one thing that Ford is really concentrating on is fuel economy. Everything about this car, even on the Sport model, they try and do things to make it more fuel efficient. Like the front fenders and the front hood are all going to be made out of aluminum, and that is an opportunity for Ford to lighten the vehicle and get better fuel economy, similar to the 2015 Ford F-150. Another thing that they do that is really nice for the fuel economy is that they actually have front aero curtains. And so basically what they do is they have tried to manage the way the air flows. And so you can actually see that in the front bumper right here that you can actually, the air flows all the way through, and you can see in there that the front air will flow in here and it flows out. So that way it kind of reduces the turbulence of the wind going around the wheels. And so it's all airflow management, and it's designed for fuel economy. While we're on the topic of fuel economy, I want to show you something that it might be controversial to some people, but you'll notice that the roof racks here, the roof rails, you'll notice that they're sealed. You actually can't get your hand all the way in and through there. And so a lot of people, well, now you can't tie stuff down to it and all this other stuff. That's actually not true. What they have the opportunity for you is they have hooks that when you buy the vehicle, it comes with hooks, so you can still tie stuff down and you can still put the crossbars in there as well. But the reason that they did that is so that way when the air came back here to the end, that the air didn't get trapped at the end of this roof rail. And so it is once again another opportunity for Ford to increase their fuel economy, because that's what's important to a lot of consumers today, myself included. Another feature about the Explorer Sport that's completely different than the other trim levels, you'll, once again, on the front bumper, you have a lot of black painted. You also have that black painted in the front door handles and also the rear door handles, as well as a breakup point on the bottom trim level as well. Once again, that is a feature that is exclusive to the Explorer Sport, and depending on what trim level you get is exactly how that trim will work out for you. As you can see, you do have your 20-inch wheels that are wrapped around. Once again, this might not be the final tire because this is a pre-production prototype, but this one does have hand-cooked tires on it. As we come around to the back, you'll notice that the tail lamps are also redesigned. Now, we're not sure if this is an aerodynamic change or if it's just for styling, but you'll notice that the tail lamps actually extrude out from the side of the vehicle. So a very, very nice feature as well as LED tail lamps as well. So when you hit the unlock button, you'll notice you'll have the LED feature in there. And then on the Sport as well, once again, continuing with that black trim theme, you have the Explorer's painted black here, and then you also have the painted black bottom piece of the rear bumper with the integrated exhaust system, which is a really nice feature, a nice touch. One of the nice features about the Explorer is its power liftgate. Now, power liftgate is kind of a standard feature on most of the vehicles. Not a standard feature, but something you would expect on a higher-end Explorer or a higher-end SUV. One thing that I do want to point out to you is this vehicle does have a trailer tow package system in it. Now, if you'll notice that this vehicle, without ever hitting the button, all you have to do is walk up and kick, and you'll notice that the tailgate automatically, the power liftgate automatically works. So it is a foot activated power liftgate, a very, very nice feature. And if you have all the keys in your pockets and your hands are full, then it senses that the key is in the behind the vehicle, and when someone kicks, it automatically opens it and it automatically closes it. Now, the feature that I want to point out to you is that in the Escape currently has this feature, but if the vehicle has the trailer tow system, then that cancels out the foot activated part because that's where the sensor is. Well, as we have found out, because this vehicle does have the trailer tow package, it looks like you can get the foot activated liftgate and the trailer tow package at the same time. So a very nice feature or change to a feature that's carried over from the Escape. One of the things that's really nice about the new Explorer, and once again, this is the older body style Explorer, but you'll notice that it has an antenna. You take the car and you want to take it through a drive-through car wash. Well, you've got to come up here, you've got to unscrew the antenna, and it's kind of a hassle. You have to then go take it through, and then when you get done, you have to screw the thing back on. Well, no more do you have to do that. The 2016 Explorer has the antenna replaced with now what we like to call the shark fin. A very nice, low profile, and actually looks like it's a part of the vehicle. Before we move to the inside of the vehicle, I want to show you underneath the hood. And so what we'll do is we will take a look. Now, you'll notice if you watched our last Edge video, is that there is no hood prop, that it actually has hood struts. So I'm kind of disappointed that with the refresh they didn't take hood struts into consideration as well, but we'll get over it. It's not that big of a deal. But as we had mentioned earlier, this is the 3.5 twin turbo EcoBoost engine making 365 horsepower. Now, as I said earlier, this is a trainer that drives this thing all over the Southeast, and as he got the vehicle cleaned, they don't detail the engine. So I'm sorry that we're in the South and we have a lot of pollen going on right now. But as you can see, this is the engine. It is a front mount engine, and it's actually turned sideways, so it is standard a front wheel drive, but this one happens to have the four-wheel drive system. So some interesting information there. And you'll also notice that on the Explorer, the Sport model that is, you'll see you do have a strut tower brace that covers the two strut towers to make sure that the frame and everything inside the vehicle is as stiff as it can for the best ride possible. We're not sure because, once again, this is the first 2016 pre-production prototype we've seen, and we don't know if the other trim levels will have that on there, but if we had to guess, is that strut tower brace is only on the Sport model. Now what we'll do is we'll take a look at the inside of the vehicle to show you some of the trim and features that are different on this one versus the old body style. So coming on the inside, you'll notice that the seats are completely different. You'll notice that the seats are more bolstered as far as the Explorer goes, this Sport model that is. And you'll also notice that the entire, not the entire dash, but a good portion of the dashboard and the steering wheel, that's primarily where your changes are. So I'm going to hop inside here, and what we'll do is I'll grab the camera and so that way I can show you some of the features that you have. Now you do have your push button start, very nice, and a carryover feature from the old body style. You do have your My Ford Touch, and while we're talking about this, the My Ford Touch system, is going to be the trim, or is going to be the technology that comes standard in the 16 model, and it will not be able to upgrade to the new Sync 3 system. So if you follow Ford, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't, click on the link that's in the description, and also that's on the annotations on the video if you're not watching on a mobile device, and you can take a look at our video that explains what Sync 3 is completely. Now what you'll notice is you do have your transmission here. It's automatic, and it's going to be automatic all the different ways. But one of the features that I wanted to point out to you is, for the first time since 2011, the Ford Explorer actually has physical buttons down here. And so you have a physical button where you have the air-conditioned seats and the heated seats, which, by the way, let's take a second and talk about that. The Ford Explorer has air-conditioned seats, climate-controlled seats, heated and cooled seats. The Toyota and the Mercedes have ventilated seats. And so it's not to bash the competition, but it's very simple. You need to understand that if you want something with cooled seats, do not go with the Toyota and do not go with the Mercedes, because there's simply air passing through. It's not cooled air, if that makes any sense. While we're on the topic of this part right here, I want to hit this button, and you'll notice you have your front view camera. You tap it again, and it turns it into a 180-degree camera. And so that's what we were talking about a little bit more a little earlier. And as we have our cameraman walk forward a little bit, you'll be able to see where he lies. All right, I'll tell you what, and walk this way, and you can see when he walks to the outside of the vehicle, all right, and you can see how far out he is from the camera. And so it's not something that's directly in front of you. You can see that's right in front of you. So it's kind of like a blind spot from the front. And then also the same as we talked about, you put it in rear, and you still have your zoom button for backing up and hooking up a trailer. But if you hit that same button, you'll notice that it takes you to the rear view 180-degree camera. So a very, very nice, convenient way of seeing everything and all of your surroundings that are around you. You'll notice that the audio dials are different, and then we also have completely different steering wheel. And so you have a little D-pad, here's what I like to call it, controls that screen, and this one controls that. If you've driven an Explorer in the past, you know that's going to feel very similar, but you'll notice just the layout of the buttons is going to be a little bit different. This one is a sport model, so it has your paddle shifters on both sides of the steering wheel, so it gives you that extra classy look to it. Dual climate control, very similar features on a lot of this stuff, but like I said, the technology is going to be where the difference is. You do have automatic headlamps. You have your power lift gate, your trailer tow mode, power locks, power windows, and you also have your power folding mirrors. So a very nice feature. Lastly, before we move to the back seat and also the cargo area of the Ford Explorer, wanted to talk a little bit about the four-wheel drive system. So this is a carryover four-wheel drive system that you have here, and then it is a automatic system. So it's not like an F-150 where you have a two-wheel drive mode and a four-wheel drive mode. This is kind of like an all-wheel drive system, but Ford brands it as a four-wheel drive. But anyways, so you have a four-wheel drive all the time while you're driving it. So this is perfect for someone that just wants a little extra sport, a little extra traction, or someone that lives in the north. But you have the standard mode here. You have you have a lot of different modes basically, and you also have the hill descent control. And so you have the four different modes there, and you can see them. You have normal mode, you have the mud and rut, you have sand mode, and then you have the snow, gravel, grass mode. So, and then once again, the hill descent control on all of those different features at the same time. In the back seat of the Ford Explorer is going to look very, very similar. Once again, this is primarily just a refresh on the vehicle, and you'll notice this vehicle is equipped with the captain's chairs, which is an optional feature, and then it also has another option on top of that, which is that center console. The standard bucket seats alone will allow for a walk-through, a pass-through into the third row seat, but this one happens to have the premium center console. You can get it with a bench seat with dual buckets and a pass-through, or you can get it like you see it is here. Now, looking on the front of the back of the rear center console, back of the front center console rather, is you actually have a couple of different features. you do have two USBs to charge your devices, and then you also have a standard wall outlet. So it's kind of neat that Ford is making the changeover to USB standard charging devices rather than the standard vehicle plug. Now, while we're in the back seat, I want to actually show you, I'm 6'3", so I am not short by any means, but I wanted to show you how easy it is to get in the back seat with a third row seat. So press the button is right here on the headrest to fold the headrest down, and then you have one lever other than that. You lift it once and it folds it flat. You lift it again, and what will happen is the seat actually folds all the way forward, and so you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know how to use that back seat. And like I said, it is pretty simple. Just hop in the back seat. Now, as you can see, I'm 6'3", and I've got enough headroom. I mean, I'm 6'3", and I'm sitting normally. I would not be opposed to making a decently long trip in this vehicle. One of the features that I wanted to point out to you as well is that if you have someone in the third row seat that's got longer legs, you can actually adjust this seat right here to scoot forward. So there's a little bar right here, and then you can scoot that forward. It gives me a little more knee room. Now I'm good for a 3 or 4 hour drive to the beach, to the lake, and you can pack the whole family. Now, to get out of the vehicle is just as easy. You can actually pull on a little drawstring that's on the back of the seat here, or you can actually press this optional button to get out of the vehicle. Now, I can't see exactly, there it is. So you press the button, and it's a power fold, so it's even easier to get in and out of the back seat. So that's literally all you have to do to get out of the car. Now, before we get out of the car and show you how easy it is to get back out, I wanted to talk about this. This is a class exclusive. In fact, it might be a vehicle manufacturer exclusive. This is an inflatable rear safety belt. So the idea behind it is you buckle the seat belt in, and if you're in an accident and you have a smaller child in the seat, what will happen is air will pass into this little buckle right here, and it'll inflate the seat belt to cover up to 4.3 times. I think it's 4.3. I know it's over 4 times the area of a standard safety belt, so that way your child doesn't have broken collarbones and other damages that a seat belt can cause in a bad accident. Now, keep in mind that there's absolutely nothing you can do if the accident is bad enough, but that's an extra safety device that really is kind of nice and a very inexpensive option on the Ford Explorer. Now, once again, I'm going to show you how easy it is to get out of the vehicle. And once again, I'm 6'3" and 30 years old, so I can navigate in and out pretty easily there, and I'd be perfectly fine with jumping in and out of that back seat if I need to. Lastly, let's talk about the cargo area in the Ford Explorer. Once again, since this is just a refresh, you're not going to have a whole lot of difference as far as cargo space in the back seat, but I did want to talk about a feature that I absolutely love, and that's the power folding third row seat. And so, as you know, I was just in that back seat. Well, now you have to load it down with cargo. One thing that I do like is you have the load floor is actually lowered down, and there's a dual purpose for that. It enables the back seat to fold into it, but it also creates a nice area where your groceries and stuff like that won't slide around in the back of the car. Once again, this is actually a trainer's vehicle, and so we apologize, it's got a little bit of stuff in here, but you kind of get the point. So you can hit normal, and that's all the way up. You can actually say, you know what, I want to adjust just the left-hand side, and I want to fold the chair completely. So you'll notice that the headrest folds down, and then the seat folds down as well. So I want this one to be folded just like that. I want to switch it over to the right side, and I want it to stow completely. Once again, it'll fold the headrest, fold the seat, and then it'll flip the seat all the way back. And if you wanted to do both seats at the same time, you just make that switch into the both position, and you can hit normal, and it all does its wizardry. And the seats come back to the same position they were in. On the Ford Explorer, since we only have the Sport to show you today, let's talk about some of the other trim levels that you can get this car in. You have the base model, which I'm very excited does not come with hubcaps standard anymore. So you actually get an 18-inch wheel or bigger on every single trim level of the Ford Explorer. No more hubcaps, and because we truly believe that wheels will help sell cars. So that's one of the reasons that Ford has got wheels on every single vehicle, not just hubcaps. Now, you have the base model, you have the XLT, then you have the Limited, then you have the Sport like you have it here, and then you have the Platinum. Now the Platinum is a brand new trim level for the Ford Explorer. Ford is telling us that that is the fastest growing part of the SUV segment. And so we're very, very excited to see this Platinum because it absolutely has no options. The only option you can get on a Platinum is the color. You can choose the color and that's it. It has everything on that car, from adaptive cruise control, where you can set the speed limit to 70 miles an hour, and when someone gets in front of you, it slows down. The active park assist, which by the way is a second generation of the active park assist. That is an option on all vehicles except for the Platinum, comes standard there. What that does is it obviously enables you to parallel park the vehicle, and it also allows you to perpendicular park the vehicle. So let's say you're in Walmart, you hit the button, hit it again for the perpendicular park, and it's searching for a perpendicular park, a standard parking space. And then what you'll do is you'll pull forward, you hit the, it'll tell you when to stop, you put it in reverse, and it will back you into that specific parking space in a perpendicular park or in a parallel. So a very, very nice enhanced feature there. I mean, the Platinum comes with everything. You literally, if you want that trim level that has every box checked, the Platinum is your vehicle. On the 2016 Explorer, let's talk about some of the features that are brand new for this specific year model. This particular vehicle has the available active contoured seats. That's a big fancy word for saying the seats will massage you. So different air pockets in the seat will actually inflate and deflate, and what that does is it tries to keep your legs, your butt, and your back stimulated so that way you don't get fatigued on long driving situations. A really nice feature if you're a road warrior. Now, some of the other features that are brand new for the 2016 model is you have an individual tire pressure monitoring system. In the past, on the old body style that we have sitting right next to it, if you had a flat tire or one of the tires started to go down in air pressure slightly, you'd have to check all four of them to see which one it was talking about. A light would come up and say, check your tire pressure, but you didn't know which one. Well, this particular vehicle will actually tell you, standard on all trim levels, exactly what the PSI is in every single tire. So there's no more guesswork on which tire needs more air. A pretty nice little feature that comes standard on all of the different Explorers. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Very important. We missed a lot of things on this car. We know that. There's simply not enough time to put it in the video. So do us a favor and put some comments below. And what we'll do is we'll do our best to answer the very first 100 comments on this video. So please make sure to put questions in there. We hope to do our best to get those responded. And also, if you found any information in this video helpful, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Like this video. It's very important to us. Because like I said, although we are a dealership, we do not use this to try and sell a car. We just simply want to provide the information that Ford shares with us. We think that information is very, very useful, and there's a lot of people out there that can use this information. So once again, thank you for watching so much. We appreciate it. Have a great day.